guys, today I have my first update for the Pan Those Eyeshadows challenge of 2020. For me, I basically continued it from 2019. I didn't exactly draw a stop with my products, but I continued it with the exact same style. I'm just picking 5 eyeshadows randomly from my collection every single time, and my goal is to hit pan on them. For the shades that I hit pan on, they're gonna get rolled out, and I will always roll in new pans every update so that I will be constantly panning 5 shades at a time. And last time, of course, I had 5 shades and I was able to hit pan on 3 of them, so I'm really excited about that. Let me show you the 3 pans that I got. The first shade is from my Yes Please palette, ColourPop, and the shade name is called Spoiled. So this one is a rather deep kind of matte reddish color right there. I only have a small pan, but this one is a little harder for me to use because it's rather red. So I'm happy with that kind of progress. I just use a really small crease brush and toss it in my crease from time to time. That's how I used it. I think it took me quite a few months to finally hit pan on it. So that one is gonna get rolled out now. A new shade that I picked last update is from my Wet n Wild Knock on Wood trail. So in this trail, I already had 1 pan, but this time I picked the brow bone shade and I was able to hit pan on it, as you can see. Also not a huge pan. This one, to my surprise, is going down slower than I expected because I feel Wet n Wild shades are rather easy to pan. This one, however, is a little bit more densely packed in there compared to an average Wet n Wild shade. So it took me a little while. I just used this as a transition shade day in, day out. This is what I have on my eyes today. It's really light. The color doesn't show up a ton, so I do feel I'm pretty liberate when I use this shade. So for all that reason, I am surprised the pan is only this small. I was totally hoping to expand it quite a bit, but it just didn't happen. However, I did hit pan, so I'm happy with that. The last shade I hit pan on is from my Lorac Pro palette. So in this palette, I picked the shade Pewter last time. So it was basically almost new. I've used it a few times for sure, but this is what it looks like now. You can see the pan is rather substantial. I use this in my outer V and I do enjoy the look of it. I think it's neutral enough, but kind of deeper. So it does provide some depth. And this is also what I have on my eyes today, just on the outer V. You can see it's kind of subtle, but still provides some depth. So I do really enjoy it. And when I was using this palette, I also incorporated Espresso, this shade, and that's a bonus pan for me. I tossed that in my eyebrows. This is what I have in my brows today, and I was able to get quite a bit of a pan, so I'm totally happy about that. This palette is looking great now. There are 2 shades gone, 3 pans, and I have a whole bunch of lighter shades that I haven't touched, and those are usually easier to go through. So I think maybe at some point I will come back here and actually pan this entire palette. So that leaves us with 2 more shades that I didn't hit pan on, and frankly, I actually did not even touch them. That true? I think 1 shade I might have used it a couple of times and that's about it, and the other shade I definitely did not touch at all. So this one first is from my Marc Jacobs the Night Owl palette, and in here the shade is this kind of deeper shimmery green color. I did not touch it even 1 time during this last update, so there's no progress to show whatsoever. That's just gonna stay, and hopefully I would finally start to work on it. I start to get a little worried about that now. The other one is also from Marc Jacobs, and this one is from the Enigma palette. So in here, I picked 1 shade that I thought was a slate gray, but after I used it a couple of times, I realized it was more like a lighter, like a green color. It has a pretty strong green tint. So for that reason, I didn't use it a whole lot because it threw me off, and I haven't quite figured out how I want to use it yet, and that's this shade right here. So I've used it a couple of times, nothing substantial, so I don't think there's really any progress to show, but those are the 2 shades I have left in the project and I haven't really touched them. All right, that means we're gonna draw 3 more shades into the project now, and let's see what we're gonna find. So I've talked about this multiple times. Randomizer.org is my preferred way to randomize. So I'm just gonna draw the shades now. All right, so the numbers are 44, 130, and 204. I'm gonna go see what they are. Okay, I have to say I am really happy with the 3 shades that got picked this time. The first one is from my Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. This one I bought a long time ago, never even used it. I might have swatched it a couple of times, but I have never used it. And the color particularly that got picked this time is Vermeer, which is this kind of really light pearl shimmery shade. That's going to be really easy to use. And frankly, I was totally searching for a lighter shimmery shades on my eyes every day. Like I have to incorporate shades from elsewhere. So this is very handy. I can just go with this one since I'm already like using a shade like this in my looks anyways. And then the next shade, interesting enough, is from my Night Out palette. So that's good. Now I have 2 shades in the same palette. It would just motivate me to use it a little more. And the color that got picked is this deepest matte brown color. It is rather deep and I really don't think I'm gonna put it on my eyes, or I don't know, I have to play with it. It has a slight bit of a like a purple tinge to it. I think I'm just gonna use it in my brows, honestly, but I will play with it. If I can use it on my eyes, great. Otherwise, it will be used in my brows and we will make some progress on it. And the last shade is from my BH Cosmetics Desert Oasis palette. This one is brand new to me. I bought it, I want to say summer last year, and I did not use it a bit. I might have swatched it, never put it on my eyes, and I still have this little protective sheet in there. You can see the newness of it. And the color got picked this time as Sandstone. So this one is also hopefully easy to use. It's this reddish kind of matte shade. It's not that red, so I'm hoping that I can easily toss it into my crease and make a look out of it. But we shall see how that plays out. I'm gonna now swatch all the 5 shades I have in this update, and so we can see the color palette now. All right, now I have all 5 shades swatched out. I am happy with the color palette, I have to say. So let's go down the line. The lightest right here is the Modern Renaissance palette, and the color is Vermeer. I love that one, just a shimmery shade like that. It's gonna be very easy to use. And the next one is from Marc Jacobs. This is the leftover shade from last update. The color, it's from the palette, the Enigma, and it's just a green leaning kind of gray silver. So it's a very interesting shade, and I think it can play nice into this color palette. And the next one is the Desert Oasis palette from BH Cosmetics, and this is Sandstone. So I think that one is more pigmented than I thought. So I might have to go light hand and see how that plays out. And the next one, this is the Marc Jacobs, the Night Out palette. And the shade is just the shimmery kind of deeper teal, and oh man, hopefully I can finally use it this time. And the last one is also from the Night Out palette. It's the new shade that just got drawn, and this, I can definitely use it in my eyebrows. It's a matte shade, so that should be easier, but it does have a little bit of a warm tone compared to my current brows, can you tell? But hopefully I can make that work. But something interesting that happened as I swatched the shade, it just seemed like it had a air bubble underneath the actual shade. So when I pressed my finger in, it bounced a little bit and it kind of popped the bubble and it cracked. Can you tell? That was very strange. I've never had a shade do that to me. So hopefully it wouldn't just completely fall out, but I'll have to be a little bit more careful when I use it. But that could possibly mean that the shade would get a pan rather fast just because the unstableness that we have here. So I don't know what to think of it. Has it ever happened to you? I'm kind of just curious what this is. But regardless, I'm just gonna go work on those 5 shades now, and hopefully I can make some good progress next update, and I can show you some new pans, roll some more stuff in, so that will be exciting. And I am excited about this color palette, especially those 3, the first 3 right here. I think that could play really nice. And hopefully someday I would be out of the green and red cycle, because I feel this theme has been in here for quite a while now. And I just don't know how to play bright red and a bright green together, you know? So hopefully one day we'll be out of this color palette and then finally work on something different. But this is it for this update. If you enjoyed this update, don't forget to give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and thank you guys for watching. Bye.